Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Journey Journals. My name is Gaia from Life of Gaia, and today I'm absolutely delighted to have a guest who was here with us previously on another interview where we discussed preparing for an ayahuasca ceremony. And her name is Tatiana, or Aya-Shakti, and she is a medicine woman who specializes in ceremonies with plant medicines. Now, the reason that I wanted to have Tatiana back on another interview is that there was a specific part of our previous interview where we started to go into her background and history. Now, Tatiana, I have to say, and I've said this before, is possibly one of the bravest people I know, and it's all around her history and her background. And so I wanted to dedicate one entire interview to going a little bit deeper into her background and history. So a very warm welcome to you, Tatiana.
Thank you, Gaia. Thank you for having me. It's an absolutely pleasure to be here with you again. There is nothing I love most than talk about this subject. So thank you for having me.
It's absolutely my pleasure. So let's get started. Tatiana, you and I have known each other for 10 years. And actually, the time that we met was at a plant medicine ceremony 10 years ago. It was my first one. And I didn't know you at the time. And I remember something very, very specific happened in the integration part of it, is that you made a very, very powerful declaration to the person that was leading the ceremony. I'd love to hear from you if you can share a little bit about the event that evening or that day and what you declared to the person leading it or the shaman.
At the time, I was in a quest to discover myself and discover what I'm here to do. And through that experience, it touched me so deeply, experience that we had it together, and I saw so clear my path for the near future. And I saw myself as a medicine carrier. So in the integration circle, I declared that I will do exactly what she does. That is carrying the medicine and holding group the way that she was. Little I knew about my own lineage, little I knew about my own history with the medicine. I have a native mother, but I didn't grow up with her. And only later on, I go on my request on knowing more about myself and wanted so much to belong. I encountered medicine in my own lineage, and here I am becoming this medicine carrier.
And what did you actually declare to her in that moment?
The declaration was that I will do exactly what she was doing as work, that I will become a medicine carrier, that I will hold the space for other people as well.
Amazing. And Tatiana, what is it that inspired you to actually make that declaration?
I saw the importance there was in our society, in my own life at the moment, to have spaces like that, to have people to open safe space for other people to come, journey and discover their own selves. So that touched me deeply. And as I see in the society, we don't have much spaces like that and the necessity of creating it. And I decided and declared to myself that I will become that. I will be the one creating space for people to come and be held it in a safe way.
Amazing. And look, who you are today is radically different to who you were in that moment. And I would love to create a little bit of context around it for the people who don't know you. And if you wouldn't mind just describing a little bit about who you were as a person, a little bit about your background, where you were living, the lifestyle you were leading that sort of led you up to that point.
It's a long story, but I will make it short and sweet as I can. I come from a really rigid religion background. I didn't grow up with my mother. My birth mother is native from the jungle. I grew up in the jungle until the age of 10 years old. And from there on, I grew up the rest of my years with my father's family. The father family part is very rigid, religious. So although they were pastors, they were missionaries, they were all these high positions in church, in their own house, in their own family, they were abusing each other. They were abusing their children. They were abusing one another. So there was a great amount of trauma that happened to me going through my first 7 years to the second 7 years of my life. So that I decided that I will leave home. There was sexual abuse, rape that was happening since the age of 4 years old. And when I was 14, I decided that I rather die on the streets than continue going into this suffering. So I decided to leave the house. And then 14 years old, I am on the street. I don't know what to do. I have a lot of help from friends and families of my friends and things like that, but I didn't felt a sense of belonging. Since day one, I remember, I never felt a sense of belonging, not belonging to myself, not belonging to the family that was caretaking of me, not belonging in society. I felt very empty and meaningless inside, like a dry leaf. I like to see, like a dry leaf floating in the air without no direction. And that emptying inside of myself led me into looking for experience to hurt myself even more, because ultimately I was looking for death. I was looking for death because life was not enough for me. Life was not inspiring, and I didn't have no desire to belonging into it. All that I knew about life was sadness and pain and trauma, and I just wanted to find a way to escape life somehow. So when I am 14 and I leave home, I go to look for drugs. I go to look for dangerous situation. I go to look to abuse my body, anything that can take me the sense of pain out of my experience. And I remember many times I will pray, going to bed to sleep, whatever hours there was, to die. I will pray to God, please take my life away, because life is not worth living and I didn't want to be here. But universe has bigger plans, no? Much bigger plans. So in my early 20s, I fall in love for the first time. And it was the first time that I have a sense of being safe somehow, that I felt love for someone, and maybe this feeling can save me out of the pain that I was always throughout my whole life until that moment in. And it was a beautiful moment of my life. But as I say before, the universe has much bigger plans to us, and sometimes we do not understand when we are going through struggle, when we are going through pain, the bigger plans that the universe still have it in place for us to live through. The pain and the suffering in my life, it was the great material, the gemstone that became my gifts to life today, because I went through such a traumatic state in my life, in the phase of my life. I was able to transform it later on into preciosity things, into gifts that I can share with other people. So when I fall in love, I had a beautiful phase of my life to be in love. You know how life becomes so beautiful when you love someone, and when you get in touch with love inside of your heart. So I had this beautiful phase of my life, but it was not meant to last, because I had to go back to the pain that I was carrying inside of myself. I had to go back and to make it, into alchemize it, all that pain into the gift that I recognize that I have today in my life, that my life become this gift. So the relationship finished. And when the relationship finished, I decided that, okay, this is it. This is it. If life was not done before, now I'm ready for life to be done. So I lived in the south of Brazil at the time. And I decided when the relationship finished to go to New York, because I didn't know anyone. My previous partner was American. And I decided to go because I wanted to learn English. We had a company at the time that had clients from all over the world, and I didn't speak enough English. So I decided that with my pain, with my heart broken, I'm going to go somewhere that nobody knows me, and I'm going to go and maybe find a way for this pain to go away, or maybe find a way to find death finally. So I go to New York. I spent almost 3 years in New York there, sad, in the deep depression, in the depth of the pain and the shadows that I was carrying within inside of me. What a great place to be in depressed in New York. I feel like everything is so perfect, no? Very perfect. So I find myself in New York. It's so hard to connect with people coming from Brazil, from a small island, going to New York, a big city. And it was really difficult for me to connect with people or find any sense of connection whatsoever, because it's this big city and everything is happening so fast, so right now. So it helped me, all this movement, all the New York is helped me to get even deeper into my pain, into my shadow. So I decided, again, I'm going to do exactly what I did early in my life as a teenager. I'm going to find situations that is dangerous. I'm going to abuse of my body. I'm going to do all types of drugs that comes to me to see if I can accelerate this process and to get to death. And that's exactly what I did. In the last part of my experience in New York, the medicine didn't show up yet at the time. Today, I like to say I had an experience when I was in the depth of my depression. I was drinking alcohol every single day because when I was not drunk, I was crying of pain of being alive. So I was drinking every day. And in one of those nights, I remember it was a period of 3 months. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to go to no parties. I didn't want to nothing. I just wanted to see if I'm going to, one day I'm not going to wake up. I'm not going to eat, I'm going to drink, and I'm going to be miserable until the death comes. And when I was going through that, I had experience with the spirit of my father. It was more than a vivid dream. It was a presence that I felt in my little small studio apartment that I lived in the middle of the city. And many days without talking to anyone, nobody knew what I was doing, what was of me, disappearing of the friends that I had from school and things like that. And I was drinking whole day, drinking all night, and in the middle of the night, I felt a presence with me. I was laying down in the bed, I remember, and this presence was hugging me. Like I felt physically hugging me in this touching me, and I freaked out. I came out of the bed and I go to the sofa. And in the sofa, the presence again come and sit right on my side and put their arms around me. And I feel like the person is there. I can touch the person. I can feel the hair. I'm like touching and feeling, but I cannot see anything. So I felt like I'm going schizophrenic. But how come I am going schizophrenic? Maybe this is the alcohol. What is going on? But suddenly, alcohol, I'm not drunk anymore because the fear is so great of what is going on that I feel like my mind is literally breaking. I am getting into a different stage of a mind that is not good. They're trying to understand what is going on. And I look at in front of me, there is a wall. And in this wall, I saw a door, like made of light. If a door was open and the light was coming from the door into the direction that I was. And there was a little girl that come in with it, giving the hand, extending the hand in my direction. But there was the presence that was sitting by my side. And I thought, you want a death now? She's coming. Now she's coming. And I thought all this is about me dying. I am literally dying and I have to accept that. I asked so many times to die, for God to take my life away. So this must be it. And in this state of shock, I didn't do anything because I didn't know what to do. It was a shock that I couldn't even have a thought what is going on. I didn't understand what is going on. I'm thinking just I'm being crazy. I'm getting crazy, and let's see what's gonna happen. The small girl got closer to me and she is extending her hand, but the hand was not being given to me. It was being given to the presence that was by my side. And when she got really close, that presence that was with me gave the hand to the child. And when they gave it the hand, I saw the person. It was a man figure, and the girl took his hand and took him through the door, and then they went. And the door closed, and it was the wall again, back again. And I was in shock until the light of the day came to the apartment, and I saw the light coming through the apartment, and that took me out of the shock that I was. And I still was thinking at the moment that I am schizophrenic, that I'm gonna have to look for this breaking mind of mine. That was not enough to be in pain and in depression. Now I have also a broken mind that I have to deal with. So I am in this shock, and then at some point in seeing the light coming through the apartment, I go to the window and I look in the window. I sobbed like I never sobbed before. It felt like I was seeing the light of the day for the first time. I never saw the light of the day since that moment. Everything was just the darkness. And I could see the East River by my apartment window. And I saw the light of the sun touching the water, the shimmering of the light. And it felt like the sun was doing that inside of me. And I couldn't stop crying. I cried for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours just to feel alive, just to feel seeing the light of the day for the first time. After I finished crying all the tears that I couldn't cry anymore, so many hours of this, I thought, now you're definitely schizophrenic. Because because I don't know anyone that is like so successful in the depth of their pain, and then I wake up in the morning and now is crying of ecstasy to see the light of the day. So I start looking up. I start searching about the schizophrenic state, about the mind that goes through this break, and I couldn't see anything that could really relate it to me. No, I saw people talking about near-death experience, and I could understand a little bit of like presence coming in or seeing the presence that I saw. And I just keep looking to understand and to know more of what was going on inside of myself. I found a lot of people talking about the altered state when they are doing breath work. I find people talking about altered state doing meditation. And I was curious about that. So I decided to join a group of meditation in the city at the time to also talk about what was going with me, because at this moment then I was afraid that I want to die. I didn't want to get crazy, be crazy. I didn't want to be a crazy person, although I was, you know. And I could see how crazy I was looking for the death. And then I understand so much joining a group of meditation at the time. And then after this, probably a month or so passed after this experience when the medicine show up. The medicine show up in my door. A friend of mine that I go to school with at the time, learning English in New York, she's Brazilian. She went to Brazil, and she said that I know you want to die. I understand the pain that you're going through, but don't die before you drink this medicine. I told her what my experience that I had with it in the apartment, the breakdown that I had, and she said, "Do not die before you drink this medicine." She shared with me some of her experience that she had with the medicine, and she came and she did the ceremony. It was a session, very simple session, just me and her. She was not a elder of medicine in any way, but she brought the medicine in compassion through the thing that I was going through.
Tatiana, would you mind just explaining for people who don't necessarily know what you're referring to when you say medicine?
The medicine that she brought from Brazil is called ayahuasca. Is a plant medicine, powerful plant medicine that is being used for generations to now. No, it's part of tradition of the Amazon jungle in Brazil. The family of my mother is part of the tradition themselves, but I didn't grow up a part of that tradition. I was taken away. I went away from my mother when I was 3 years old, so I didn't have no idea of what was this medicine, what was this powerful concoction that can open up your mind, it can open up your heart in this way. So for me, it was like completely new thing. She say, drink this, don't die, drink this first, and then you can decide if you want to die. I say, let's drink it right now. And she say, no, we cannot drink it right now. You're gonna have to do a detox of your body, so then you can drink the medicine. If you really want to drink it, then you have not to drink alcohol for this amount of time. You needed to eat this type of food. She guided me a little bit there because she went through the process herself when she was in Brazil, and I did that, and we decided we're going to drink the medicine. I drank it 2 little cups of medicine and didn't work. Didn't feel anything. And then I say I needed to drink more. And she was a little bit concerned because she doesn't know what can happen, but she gave it me anyway. And when the third cup of medicine come down, then I start open up and I start having the experience. And the most profound thing that I remember of this experience of the first time in drinking ayahuasca, this moment of a struggle that I was going through, crisis of life, really not wanting to be alive at all, belonging to this life. I remember the face of my mother, like the sense of being a dry leaf in the air without no direction. It came because I didn't feel connected or belonging to no one or nothing. So the medicine showed me the face of my mother, and I was a little baby and I was nurturing from her, and I could see the love, the house of love that I belong in her eyes. I could see the place where I came from, and that I cannot tell you enough. I feel goosebumps in my body. It was all the medicine that I needed at the moment to know that I belong somewhere and that I come from the house of love that we all do. So From that experience, everything changed in my life. I decided that I don't want to be in New York anymore. In the period of 3 months, I gave up all my things, my belongings. I donate all my. I was a very vain person. I was very vain, and I was very focused on my physicality. I need to have the most perfect body. I cannot repeat it clothes to go to the party. I have a collection of shoes that not even if I live a lifetime, I need to all this amount of shoes. So very focused on the outside of myself, the outside appearance of myself, how I show up to the world. But while inside I was dying, while inside I was melting away with my essence, in the outside it was very important to be looking perfect. So I decided after the ayahuasca experience that I'm going to not live in New York anymore. Was not me. I had one job to do for me, was to find my true essence that I didn't know. I lived it throughout. I was in my early 20s, and I lived all these years, and I never was my true self. So I saw that very clear when I drink medicine. All that I needed and all that I wanted at the moment was to go back to the essence of myself. And the only way that I knew how to do that was to get closer to what I knew when I was a child, going back to the jungle. So I thought, I'm going to go to the jungle. I'm going to go to the jungle. I'm going to do anything that I can to go to the jungle.
So Tatiana, when I met you, you were living in Miami, and as you described, you had, the party outfits and the beautiful shoes, and you're a stunning girl and all of that. And you were completely different to who you are now. And, the reason I wanted to interview you again is that this channel is about, it was created around the Joseph Campbell quote, which is, "The cave you fear to enter holds the jewels that you seek." And I feel like you took a profound journey into the darkest cave possible, and you came out with the jewels. And I feel like the biggest part, or a large part of that journey, was then your decision to go into the jungle to study medicine. And I've heard pieces of it. I don't know all the details of it, but it is by far one of the bravest things I have ever heard anyone do. And I would love you to speak into, how you decided to go down to the jungle, your experience there, and what happened.
So when I had the experience in New York and I decided to give everything away, I was in between experience. I didn't know where to go in the jungle. I was searching where place to go in the jungle. There is a lot of movement of going to the jungle in Peru, in Brazil for medicine. And I heard a lot of people talking about it when I'm searching and I'm asking around, and people saying like, go here, go there. So I see that there is a lot of movement of this, many people going to the jungle, and I didn't know for certain where is the place for me to go. So I was looking for this right place to go. And in the between phases was when we met in Miami. And when I live in my life in New York, I go to Miami. Right now I don't have a job. I am like, what I'm going to do? I just wanted to make it to the jungle, but I also needed some money to make it to the jungle. So I'm in that between phase. And in the between phase, I'm also having more experience with medicine, so I can understand more what is going on inside. And I just knew in my heart that I need to go to the jungle. I didn't have no direction. I didn't have no person that I can trust that can tell me go into this jungle. So I'm just searching everywhere I can to find this place in the jungle that I can go. And all my friends at the time think, you're crazy. Don't go to the jungle. You're a small little woman, and you're going, what are you going to do in the jungle? You're going, now you're going to really die if you go to the jungle in this way. Nobody go to the jungle like that. But I came from the jungle. I grew up in the jungle since I was 10 years old. That was all that I knew was the jungle. So the idea to go to the jungle as a woman did not scare me, because I knew that in going to the jungle, I would get closer to where I was, to who I will remember of my essence was when I was a child. Then I remember my essence then, and I knew that the jungle could help me to get back there. So searching here, searching there, some people was indicating places for me to go, and I felt I'm just gonna go to Peru, because I heard a lot of things about ayahuasca in Brazil that is related to Santo Daime church. I have a trauma from church growing up in a rigid family, the way that I was, and with all the abuses. I didn't felt attracted or interested enough for me to go to Brazil to do ayahuasca in Brazil because of this. So I decided I'm gonna go to Peru. A lot of people people is going to the US to Peru to drink medicine, and I just go. Someone say, there is a friend of mine that is in Peru also looking for someone to teach, to learn from. So I go meet this person that is also looking for someone that is for teaching her. And I met her, and we decided to go to this little town in Peru. It's called Pucallpa, but we didn't know nobody. But anyone that you ask in Pucallpa, if they know a shaman or curandero, they gonna know. They know their cousin is a curandero, their grandmother is a curandero, their whole family is is a shaman. There is a lot of that happening. So it's difficult to filter. It's really a challenge to filter what is real and what is not real, no? Because a lot of people, many of the people is trying to just sell their fish. So we went through a lot of experience that was broken and traumatic experience. No, there is people that is asking me to take my clothes off so I can do a blessing. People that is asking more money so they can do a blessing, or they can give it. Every time I go drink ayahuasca, the price is 3 times more expensive. A lot of this. And then I spent 8 months of the first time in Peru looking for a teacher, all about these scams, all about scams. But it was less important for me, I see today, because without going through the scans, I will not be able to know where is the truth, where is the true teacher. So in the end of this 8 months, I didn't have money anymore. I spent all my money. We were living in a very poor situation to be closer to the people that serve medicine and to find someone that is serious about their work, but it was not working. So I decided I'm gonna go back to the US. I need to find a work to do so I can come back to the jungle and spend more time looking for a real teacher. So I decided that this is what I'm going to do, and I decided to come back to the US. But before I make it back to the US, a person that we met there in this month is ask us if we have heard of Juan Flores. We never heard of his name. And we say, okay, let's do one last tentative to see if this is worth it or not. We went to this little office in this little tiny town. In the back side of Pucallpa, we go into this house. The house is like made of wood, very simple, barely standing, no? Barely standing. And then we get there. Someone meet us at the door and say, how you know about Juan Flores? Who told you about Juan Flores? Who are you? It was not a very super welcome introduction. But at the same time, we thought, we look at each other and we thought it's another one of those that we went through, so many of them. No? But when we are talking to the person at the time, the Juan Flores arrived right now, right this moment when we are at the door. He arrived from the jungle, and he just looked at us and he smiled. And I saw him, he smiled. If I felt looking at his face, he didn't say a word, but I felt a sense of fatherhood. I never had a father figure in my life, and I felt like almost like I was looking into the face of my father somehow. And I could trust him just the way that he smiled at us. He go inside to talk to the person that was talking to us at the door, and then he come out and he tell us, are you guys ready to go to the jungle? And we're not. We're not ready to go to the jungle. We don't have nothing with us other than some pennies so we can pay the next cab to go back where we came from. And he say, we don't have time, but the car is leaving to the jungle right now, and we needed to decide it right now if we're gonna go with him. But we don't have money. We tell him that we don't have money. He says, just come to the jungle. If you're ready, let's go right now. And with all heart full of trust, I just trusted that the feeling that I had, that looking at him and smiling at us this way, there was a trust there that happened that didn't happen with the other people before, and we just go. And we spent 15 days with the same clothes, with no soap, no brushing teeth, no nothing. We go 15 days to his center, and is the teacher that I have until this day. Juan Flores is my teacher, and I see like he plays a great part, because it is almost like the universe giving a new opportunity to have a father figure in my life. And this is what he represented to me. More than a teacher, he is represented a father figure to me. He's been serving medicine for his whole life. Since 9 years old, he's learning about the medicine. And to this day, 74 years old, he's still teaching people, giving medicine to people. His whole life is about medicine, plant medicine, ayahuasca, the healing that he facilitates people to go through when they are there in the jungle. So that was my first step into the field of learning more about the plant medicine work.
And Tatiana, can you actually describe, you've told me a little bit about it, but the turn of events and how it actually happened and how you were sent out into almost the middle of nowhere to do the work?
That's one of my favorite part of the story. When I got to the jungle there, the center is a beautiful place. It sits by a boiling river in the Amazon. I never knew there was a boiling river in Amazon. 100 degrees, like a boiling river. You cannot even put your finger in the water. You're gonna burn yourself. So to see this, encountering this river was like, wow, I feel like I am in paradise already. And it was so, everything was beautiful about the place, and everything was beautiful about the people that live in the place. And we do ceremony, and then it becomes like I am living literally in paradise. I am in heaven, and I don't want anything else with the outside world. This is like day one. And he said, in the morning, you come, in the morning, the next day, you come early to my house, to my place, and I'm going to give you medicine so you can start your diet. I say, good. We are in a village, we are staying with people, and everything feels so comfortable and good. And in the morning, I go there, and he give me a liter of medicine to work. This medicine is one of his favorite trees. It's called Camiranaco. And he had been drinking Camiranaco his whole life. It's like his master plant. It's the first one. It's one mother tree that they have in there in the village. There are many of them, but one of them are really old, more than 800 years, they say. And no 30 people can hug it together. It's like so big, and the roots grow like walls, those type of trees. So he's taking this medicine, the concussion, and he say, here's your medicine, is a little amount. Go to the tambo. The tambo is a little hut away from the village. He say, go to the tambo, go find a tambo far away from the village, and there you're gonna stay until you finish this medicine. At the time when he said that, I felt like, okay, it must be fine, because people going, he's sending other people to go, and it must be fine. And it was during the day. I felt, okay, I can do it. And I go, and I find that it's like about like 40 minutes away from the village. Like if something happened to you, until you get back to the village, it's gonna be a walk. So I go, but during the day it's fine. And I get there, and it's a little square. It's a little square made of wood, elevate, maybe like a 2 meters elevated from the floor, because it's jungle, like jungle. There is nothing here that is gonna make you comfortable. From the opposite is true. And there is this little square that can protect you from the middle of the jungle, from the insects, from all the crawlers and things like that. And you have a space for you to put your hammock, and like a little mattress, like this thick little mattress that is like you're sleeping in the hardwood floor. And there you're going to spend 15 days. You cannot come out of this until you are done. This was the most important 15 days of my life, because from the first night, when the first night start coming, it was terror and fear, from the last thing of my hair, from the last group of my hair to the cells of my bone, to my bones. It was fear coming out for all types and forms out of me. And I visited the fears when I was a little girl, going through the traumas, going through the rapes, going through all the things, going through the abandonment, going through all the fears that I have accumulated inside of my system was coming out in the first night. And on top of that was the fear of being in a jungle by myself at night, that anything can happen with me. Yeah, I want nothing in the world when I'm going through this. I want nothing in the world more than going home. I want to go home right now. This is not for me. And then all the conditions in my mind too about the church, all the church tells us about the things that we don't understand, the things that we don't know, the things that is not in the Bible, that is all related to the devil. So I thought this is the devil, and so much fear. All the fears I feel I experienced in these 15 days. But the first night, when the first night was over, I could not even pee. I was so much fear. I could not even move from my place. I was just shaking the whole night long, waiting for the nighttime to go away so I can go back to him, to his village, and tell him, take me, I'm gonna go home right now. That was exactly what I did. But like 4 to 5 a.m. They start coming out, some lights start coming out, and I am like in this shock state that I cannot do nada. I just want to run for my life. I go to his house and knock to his door, and I say, crying, desperate, saying, please call someone to take me home because I am not going to stay here. I didn't know, I didn't have no idea that this is what was about learning medicine. Then he just listen to me. He just look at me, calm. He just wake up now and calm and look at me. Sometimes he smile a little bit because I am so desperate, crying like, please take me away from here. I cannot be here for a minute or more of my life. And when I stop talking, and I feel like he's gonna say, "Don't worry, the car is coming to take you home." No, he doesn't say that. He say, "You came here to finish a 15-day process, and you're not going to leave until you are done." Oh, wow. But he said that with such authority. Again, I felt like my father was talking to me, and I cannot not do what he's telling me. And he said, there is no devil that is going to take you away or is going to come and take you to the hell. You have to go there and face whatever it is that you have to face for the 15 days until we're done. And with such authority, I say, okay, do it. I just agreed, and I pick up my bottle of Cabranaco, and I go back to my
Back
little
into the cave.
exactly back to the cave, and I finish my 15 days. No brushing teeth, no changing clothes, no nothing. Just drinking the medicine, and all the other 14 nights to come was all the same or even more intense because the fears did not stop coming. It was all about going to the bottom and the depth of the fear and the shadows that I have accumulated my entire life, that I never visit them. I never went to those caves. I never recognized what was inside of them. It was all about that, going there and visiting them, recognizing the amount of fear that I have storage in my bones, that I have storage in my veins, in my blood, everywhere. And it has to do with all the abuses. It has to do with all the abuses that it was that happened upon me and the abuse that I inflicted upon myself. All about this. It was a great initiation, I would say. It was the greatest initiation that I could have. And from that moment, when I finished the 15 days,
Tatiana, I have to ask you, where did you find the courage, like night after night for 14 days by yourself in the jungle, experiencing all of this? I mean, I don't know how you did it.
I don't know how I did it neither. Like if I I couldn't tell you from where did I found the courage. I just knew that he told me to finish, and I gotta finish. Finish and tell me that I'm not gonna leave until I finish, so I gotta finish this so I can go home.
So you were obeying rules.
Exactly. But
it.
I feel like it was a sense of a sense of trust in what he was telling me, and the sense of trust that I never had it before with anyone else, hearing like it so closely. Don't listen to your fears, what your fears is telling you. Just go there and finish this. So I will, during the nighttime, I could not move from my little square. I could not sleep. There was the presence that I felt when I was in New York in an apartment. Now was like it times 100 in the little town isolated by myself. And I just kept going because the 15 days is gonna be over at some point, you know. So I did that, and I finished. And when I finished the 15 days, visiting all this fear, then I was sold. I wanted to know more about myself. I wanted to know more about the things that I don't know. And if in 15 days I can access so much. And I remember also every night that I wake up, there was a sense of alleviation after going through terror and after terror during the night, because the night was the most difficult part of the experience for me to have. The amount of contact, of presence, of information, of voices, of so many things that is happening, that I was curious. I was deeply curious about what else that is there we don't know. I didn't have no idea that there are other reality, there are other layers of reality inside of this reality that we know that we don't have no idea about. So my curiosity started growing after I finished the 15 days. I knew that there was more inside of this realm that I needed to understand for my own sake, for me to heal my wounds, for me, because I was also tired. I wanted to die. I was tired of life. I was tired to live this miserable, disconnected life. And anything was better than going back into that reality that I knew before, even if I have to be peeing myself of fear of the darkness and of the darkness outside of me and the darkness inside of me, and be frozen for days at a time. Even that was worth it than going back and living a numb state life. I didn't want that. Death was better for me. So then maybe that's where when I find like more inspiration, that yes, it's terrible to be terrified every day, every night for 15 days of my life, but something also was making sense inside, because I never had to realize that there is so much layers of this reality that we are living in, inside out of ourselves. And I just wanted to know more. So when the 15 days come to the end, I told him that I'm gonna go out because I needed to get more money. I need to work to pay him. And I will come back, and I want to spend as long as I could spend with him. I will do that. So I start doing that, and it's been almost 12 years now that I go back there every year, and I'm doing the same exactly thing. Now fear become my ally. Now every time I feel fear when I'm doing this process, I know there is something precious for me there behind the fear that is coming up. So I'm really grateful for a place there that I can go, that I can visit places inside of myself, I'm really grateful to have a place to isolate in the jungle, so I can go inside the caves inside of myself and visit them, because I can't wait to bring those gifts out. It's all about that, the fear showing us the gifts.
Beautiful. What a profound experience. Tatiana, I have to ask on a side note, what happened to the friend that was with you at the beginning of the journey?
She studied also with my maestro for a period of time. She went there with me when I went for the first 15 days. She went back for a few years later to continue study with him. And then she got pregnant from someone that worked in the center there with him. And then she was from Portugal. And then when she got pregnant, she went back to live in Portugal. And then her journey became a child.
Beautiful. So she was actually doing the same work as you in parallel in the same time that you were doing it.
Yes. She was looking for a teacher. She was more advanced than me. She was drinking medicine for a few years already. Her other groups in Europe, in Portugal, where she lived. And when I encountered her, she knows so much more about the plant medicine, about ayahuasca, but she needed a teacher. So when we find the teacher together, she stayed with him for a little bit until she got pregnant, and her child became her journey. And then the father went with her from Peru, moved to Europe. Today, they serve medicine together.
Beautiful. Tatiana, how did this profound experience in the jungle, shape how you work with plant medicine and shape your own spirituality today?
Great question. I feel without the jungle experience, it's like a training, In this training, like we know, we are familiar with this word of training. The training with medicine work, the training with plant medicine never ends. It's like the college that we go, we are the material. Now we have to use ourselves. We are the examples. As I heal my wounds, only then I can help someone else, guide someone else into do the same for them. And that is like your test tool. When you're ready is when you have achieved some level of healing in yourself, so you can go on and you can be the example for other people to do the same, because all we need is like that, examples. We have example from our parents, we have example from the society, we have example of each other. It's not any different than the example of healing ourselves. The power of healing is ours. We have the power to heal ourselves. Nobody else have the power other than us to heal ourselves. But guidance, we need guidance. We need guidance of our mothers. We need guidance of institution. We need guidance so we know the direction to go. So going to the jungle for me is like going to college. I'm going to go to college, and my work and my subject to study is myself. I have many wounds in my heart. I have many misunderstandings about life, and I have to bring all those things into one place, make it balance with them so they can be the precious gifts that I can share myself with the world, and then in that way guiding other people to do the same for themselves. So to go to isolation, I cannot do my work. I will live my entire life different than the college that we can study for 10 years and then we're done. We have our diploma, and we are professional now. The plant medicine, as much as we learn, as many years I passed, I can say for myself, more that I learn about the plant medicine, less that I know. So it's like a dedication of an entire life, of this life and probably the next one to come as well. I will never feel that I'm ready with my diploma, because more that I know, there are infinite things more to know yet. So for me, it's about healing my wounds, healing my unconscious, healing the way that I perceive life that is distorted. All about this. Now, and throughout my whole life, I'm gonna go to this school that is the jungle, so I can better understand, to be a better guide for other people.
I love that you use the concept of guide. I think it's so important. And I think there's a humility to it, as opposed to, being a teacher or an instructor, like really just offering like guidance based on your own experience. It's a beautiful concept. Speaking of concept, I wanted to ask you to describe sort of your concept or your understanding, or how you would describe spiritual awakening, or the concept of spiritual awakening, based on your own personal journey and sort of the transformations that you've witnessed personally.
In my own journey, my awakening started right in the moment when I decided to die. I didn't want to belong to life. I didn't want to belong to the format of society that we all agree upon. We agree that we're gonna go through this life disconnected. It's a collective agreement. So my awakening start right then, when I say I rather die than continue agree that this is okay. And from that decision, I feel like the universe guide me, through the death that I needed to die, of the conditions that I believe it, that was false, of the beliefs, misbeliefs that I had inside of me, that was all false. And I didn't want to continue living my life if that was the reality to be the rest of my life. So I start awakening then, because I want a different alternative than was shown to me, that was ready for me since my birth. So from there, it was easy, because as we decide that we're going to die, we don't want it. I think a great amount of chance, something awakes inside of you. I was curiosity, not about physical death. Although my mind thought that I wanted to die, I didn't want to really physical to die. I wanted not. It was a rejection of the things that was in place that I didn't want to accept. That was not working for me. So spiritual awakening happen to us in all levels. No, we don't have to awaken to the 7 layers and see the 7 heavens. Sometimes we're gonna get there if there is our path. But awakening is realizing that what is working for you, what is healthy for you, what is good for you, what is elevating for your spirit, and then what is not. When I realize that what I'm doing for my health is not helping my health, I'm awakening. I'm awakening to decide that, wait a minute, there is maybe other alternatives that I can deal with my health. It's health, it's mental health, it's physical health, all health in all levels. When I see myself going through my life disconnected, and I'm sad, the more that I'm happy, that I am destructive, more that I am constructive in my life, is also awakening. So there are so many levels of awakening that we go through, but sometimes we give ear to it, and sometimes we don't, depending on how strong is the condition. And I like to say, if I did not suffer enough of my pains and struggle, I will not be able to awaken, because we are only awakened. There is a birthright for all of us to awaken, and we all will do so in the right time that comes. But if we don't go through the suffer, if we don't feel the pain enough, we will continue going through the suffering and feeling the pain, because it is a way to take us into the preparedness, the preparation. Yes, I got enough, I suffered enough, and this is enough. I'm ready to die. I'm ready to let it go of the world. I'm ready to let it go of the condition, because there are so many other infinite other reality alternative and realities of life that we can become, that we can live ourselves today.
Tatiana, there's plant medicines, if you look at it statistically, there people who use plant medicines or who have had plant medicine experiences refer to it as oftentimes the most important experience of their life, and the most life-changing experience of their life. And it certainly was for me. I wanted to ask you, there's so many different plant medicines and so many different modalities, and you have selected specifically ayahuasca, which is a plant medicine, and Bufo, which is a toad medicine, to work with because they obviously call to you the most. I would love to hear what led you to that decision to work with those two particular medicines, and a little bit about those medicines and how they've contributed to your personal growth.
The ayahuasca part, she chose me instead of me choosing her. All that I did was that to decide that I was done with what I was going through at the moment. I was done with the suffering. I want a new life. Even if it means dying for this life that I know, I am ready for a new life. That was my job, to decide that I wanted something else for my life. And then the medicine choose me and show up in my life right then. But it also has to do with the lineage of my mother. My mother her father is still alive, and he practiced medicine his whole life. He's 90 years old now. And until he was like 85 years old, he was still practicing medicine. He used a lot of tobacco medicine. He used all his things, his plant medicine as in general. But I didn't have contact with that. But ultimately, it's in my blood. Even if I didn't grow up with them, if I didn't have contact with them as a child, it was in my blood. So when I drink medicine, it was something very familiar. When I drink medicine for the first time, it didn't feel it was something, oh, wow. No, it felt like something, I know this. It felt very home. It felt very
Familiar.
home.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I just go with this feeling because it feels natural to go with it. It could be other medicine, but what it showed in my door, literally, it was this medicine. And she's so loving, and she showed me so much that I needed to see that naturally my heart followed that flow, that river of the medicine. And I was curious. I was curious because in my visions, in my early experience, I saw a lot about the aspect of my life growing up in the jungle. I saw a lot related to my mother. I saw a lot related to her lineage of her family I didn't have no idea or contact with in physical form, physical realm. And a lot of those aspects came in my experience with the medicine. It was almost like regaining back something that I lost, retrieving something that was lost that I didn't even knew that I lost. But when I was founding, every experience that I had with the medicine, with ayahuasca, was getting a piece back of myself. A little by little, I was getting that piece back. So I'm grateful that she showed up in my life in this way. I'm grateful for all the struggle, all the experiences that I had that led me into her finding me in that way. And for me, it feels it's part of me. It's part of my lineage. It's part of my culture. I cannot even make it different than before and after. It's just part of it, what it is. And then going to the jungle to getting deeper into the knowing of the medicine. What is this practice of the medicine? It was a recognition that it was also lost. We all have this, no? We all are shamans in a sense in the inside, but we lost contact with this part of ourselves. The way the society works does not have a space for us to be practicing or reviving those things inside of us. So most of this part of us are dormant inside, and the medicine can awaken this part of us so we can recognize that we are the healers for ourselves. We are the healers for our families. We are the healers for our communities. We are the healers for our society. And we have to decide to become it ourselves. No? It was the recognition of drinking medicine, healing my wounds, and recognize that I have this potential inside of me. We do not, I like to say this to the people that come drinking medicine, we do not need ayahuasca to become what we came to become. And we are grateful to have a great, powerful medicine the way that ayahuasca is, the way that Bufo is in our life, maybe for a reason, because we walk so backwards into forgetfulness, into numbness, that something is needed. And the universe is so intelligent, so beyond our minds, that left in this planet powerful tools like that. Because there will be a time that we'll forget completely our essence. There will be a time that we completely forget what we came here to do. And then we have these tools that we can touch us and remind, oh, wait a minute. Now I remember. But we don't need necessarily to drink medicine, ayahuasca, any psychedelic at all, because the medicine is already inside of us. But we do, in the times that we are living, it's so necessary to have tools like meditation, tools like learning how to breathe, because the majority of us doesn't know, tools like psychedelics, so it can push us a little further away. But the medicine ultimately is us. We are the medicine. We are the conscious alive inside of this physical body. In a way, we go so deep into the forgetfulness that the universe worry not. That is to remind you to come back to your essence. Mm-hmm.
Tatiana, and for the people who are looking to embark on this journey of, remembrance and maybe haven't been able to access it themselves and are looking to turn to plant medicine, what guidance, not advice, do you have for those people embarking on that journey for the first time?
Listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. You have a powerful heart. If there is any master for you to be guided towards, is your own heart. Our heart always know when the medicine calls you, when plant medicine calls you, or any medicine of high consciousness calls you. Listen to that. Your heart know where to go. And if you listen to your heart, you will never get lost. Listen to your intuition. Your intuition is your higher self telling you what direction, what place, where to go. Listen to that. I like to think someone long time ago in my life made this referral saying that the spiritual path is a very short one, like this short, from here to here. So instead of us listening to what our mind tells us, we listen with our heart tells us. And in this society, in these times that we are living, it's so difficult for us to listen to our heart with so much noise, no? But you can. The power is yours. The ability for you to bring forward the love inside of you is yours. No one can do better than you can do it. So listen to that. You see, your heart is always going to take you to the right place for you to be.
And I believe, just following up on what you're saying, I believe it's equally important to listen to your heart when it's telling you to not do plant medicine.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is so much misinterpretation. People that are representation of the medicine lately, right? And of course, we wanted to know who is serving the medicine first. Who is this person? What is the integrity of this person? How is the life of this person? Because I wanted to know how is the life of this person to see if I am inspired by the things that this person is doing in their life, so I can drink medicine with this person. Look into his safety, how safe it is, what is the guidance of this person that is offering medicine? Does it touch your heart? Does it touch you? Does it make you feel a fire inside that you wanted to do this? Listen to those things.
And Tatiana, speaking of heart, what is the message from your heart?
The message from my heart: we are one and the same. Doesn't matter how low or how high we individually are. We are one and the same. We come from the same house of love, and that house of love can be forgotten inside of us. That's when we get sick, when we forget the house of love that we belong, that we are, that we came here to be and share. And then when we forget, it's easy to be in pain. When we forgot, it's easy to suffer. When we forgot, it's easy to struggle. But we can remember as easy as we can forget. If you wanted to be better and do better in this life, make intention so you can remember all the medicine that you are. Make intention so you can remember all the love that you came here to share. Because I promise you, there is medicine and there is unconditional love inside of you to share. Does not let no society and no one to tell you otherwise. You are the God you're looking for your entire life.
Thank you for saying that. And Tatiana, speaking of unconditional love, I want to thank and acknowledge you, and I want to express my love for you. I want to express my gratitude for our friendship, for how grateful I am that, you shared your story with us today and how candidly you shared it, because, you touched on things like not wanting to live and pain and sadness. And I want to say thank you for how openly you share your heart. I also want to say thank you for how grateful I am that our paths crossed in this beautiful journey, 10 years ago, and how grateful I am that you chose life, because I believe that in you choosing life and making that decision, I feel like you've given life back to so many people around you, and you do it on an ongoing basis, and you do it from an incredible place of bravery and vulnerability at the same time, and you're an absolute inspiration to me. And so I wanted to say thank you for being here and for sharing your heart.
Thank you so much. It's my very pleasure to share of my experiences, to share about my work, and to share of the love that I have for this practice. I remember when I was completely forgetful in myself, when I was deep in my pain, all that I wished for in the heart of my heart was a hand to guide me. Wait a minute, it's not that hard. You can go this way. So I strive to become that guidance in people's life. I strive, and I feel so happy when I can give of my example, give of my love, and give of my hand so someone can be guided towards the place that they belong. And if you are out there, a person that is suffering, that is struggling, just know that there is a place for you, that there is love inside of you, your higher self itself maybe guiding you to go through pain and suffering so you can gain back the preciosity, the gift that you are, so you can buy it in this lifetime. When we suffer, I like to say when I'm struggling in life is a way of life testing me, because I am so great, so much potential of greatness to create and manifest so much in my life. I got to be tested. I got to be tested so I can recognize this potential that I am. So do not let the struggle and suffer blind you so you can forget the true godliness that you are within.
I agree with you 200%. And I feel like if I can even impart 1% of what the immensity that I've received from plant medicines, then I've, done a gift to someone. And, speaking of imparting the knowledge and sharing the knowledge and offering guidance to people, I would encourage you, if you've enjoyed the content that we have spoken about in Tatiana's story, to please reach out to her in the comments, share the video, please share it as much as possible. And for those of you interested in journeying for the first time, we have recorded another video on how to prepare for an ayahuasca ceremony, where Tatiana went through step by step, detailed sort of a preparation guide on how to get yourself ready. And I highly, highly recommend you watch that. We'll put it in the link below. And we will also be recording another video where Tatiana will go through the whole process of integrating an ayahuasca ceremony, which is equally important. And yeah, we look forward to doing that too. So again, Tatiana, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Looking forward to the next interview and sending you much love from here.
Thank you, Gaia. Thank you so much.